Hello, fabulous superstar Leo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. As we begin this month, on the first of the month, Saturn will retrograde out of fellow fire sign Aries and move back into a part of the sky for you that has to do with profound change, truth, transformation, regeneration, power, your understanding of it, how you wield it, the taboo, and wealth, including access to financial resources. So you can see here it is quite literally and figuratively a very rich part of the sky. And in a higher sense, this represents working towards your own change, striving to be true and honest with yourself, and allowing yourself to consider what needs to change, how you're ready to transform, and as part of that, what stays and what goes. This can be very powerful energy, but it ultimately does invite you to, well, put in the time. That's what Saturn asks. It was back in May 25th that we had Saturn leave this part of the sky, however briefly, now retrograding back in, and will be here right until just before Valentine's Day of 2026, at which time Saturn will leave, not to return for about 2.5 decades to come. So, this really is one of these moments that's about wrapping up loose ends, striving to dig deep, understanding how well provided for you are by a generous universe. And with Saturn, the question is always, can I do this for the rest of my life? And with this part of the sky, it's like, can I keep going on like this? Can I keep being this without changing for the rest of my life or not? And where it is that we feel change has to happen, we just might summon incredible resources from within to make those changes happen. And that can be part of one expression of this part of the sky that has to do with authentic power. On the 6th of the month, Uranus will stand still in the sky and officially go retro. Uranus will be stationary in a friendship part of your sky. And whenever it is that Uranus is standing still, it is at the height of its power. And this is a surprise a minute, if not a shock a minute, coming from the friends in your life, but also coming from group dynamics that you find yourself in. And actually, wherever it is that you gather with others, you start to summon some of this energy. It starts to come to the surface that much more readily. For all that, though, what I find remarkable here is it is about seeing truth in people. That's Uranus. Uranus cuts through illusion and it gets right to the core. Sometimes in a split second, in a flash, you see what's really going on. And where you might need it, you might just see what's really going on with another now, the nature of the connection, and what it is to move forward or not. Is it that now you're going to cut ties with somebody, or is it that you are going to fortify certain alliances? Well, while your answers will be uniquely your own, what I can say is at least one of these people, if not your group dynamic, you will see very differently. In an instant, you see some truth there, and it's a game changer. The following day, we have a lunar eclipse. And this lunar eclipse takes place in the same part of the sky that Saturn retrogrades into at the start of the month. So, change, truth, wealth, that's what we're looking at here. And as soon as this lunar eclipse occurs, we enter eclipse season. And this is the period between eclipses. The ancients thought of this as a time when the veils between the worlds were especially thin. I like to think that this is a time when it's that much easier to recognize some of your own spiritual lessons playing out. You're able to see through illusions in that sense and not get too caught up in the external that might be happening, but rather stay focused on what's really going on within you and what you're learning in the process. But for all that, this is actually a really nice energy. This lunar eclipse is speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter. Jupiter right now is in the sign just before yours, which has to do with spiritual guides. It has to do with feeling a sense of universal cosmic help. And it's about karmic blessings having Jupiter here. For all that, though, this beautiful alignment does suggest that some of the best things that are going to happen, they're just going to end up manifesting. They're just going to come about in important ways. And this energy also suggests that changes are taking place, but there is a sense that it is good, that it's moving you towards the kind of change you really are wanting, that you see as a blessing. So, whether this change is moving towards more prosperity, more wealth, whether it is through your own personal transformations, whatever's happening, especially around this lunar eclipse, it's bringing something to an end, and you feel that much more energized and grateful as it spurs you forward. And very likely, this is an end that you are choosing as part of just saying to yourself what matters and what doesn't, and as part of living that much more fully in this lifetime, knowing that you have so much more yet to do. It is going to be 2 weeks later, on the 21st of the month, that we have a solar eclipse. Now, this solar eclipse takes place in a financial part of your sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love, and self-esteem. So for you astro nerds out there, let me say, like myself, this eclipse is part of a larger formation that we call a kite. This whole kite is pointing towards this eclipse. And even though it is a larger kite formation, it is not a true kite, meaning that the degrees line up, but the elements don't. So that's all the nerdy talk to say. It is a very powerful time. And if it was all easy breezy, then maybe we wouldn't make the most of it. But there's this feeling inside, there's enough tension there so that the blessings that are possible now, the changes that are possible now, we're able to recognize how it is that we might maximize them. It is going to be Saturn across this eclipse that is the most precise alignment. And that does suggest a tone of seriousness and maybe even a sense of responsibility or pressure coming from outside of you at this time. So just pace yourself as you navigate this time. I think a lot of Leos might find themselves needing to pay attention to financial matters. Consider this as well. Where this eclipse is taking place, it is a part of the sky for you that has to do with, yes, money you earn and money that you spend. The other eclipse happens in the other financial part of your sky where Saturn is. And so this tension playing out between these two, your ability to access resources, but also what you're earning, what you're spending, and finding a balance there might be part of how this energy shows up for some Leos out there. But for many Leos, this is not going to play out financially at all. It's going to have a lot more to do with what's happening in your own understanding of how it is that you are changing, you are transforming, and how it is that you might move towards healthy self love. Now, also consider this, it was last month that we had a new moon in this same financial part of the sky. And as I told you at that time, that new moon happened at the very beginning of this part of the sky, what we call 0 degrees. So it truly was a very beginning. But now here we are, and we get this very powerful energy of a solar eclipse, which is like a very jacked up new moon. And it's at the very end at 29 degrees, what astrologers call an anaretic degree. So, yes, it is a beginning, and for some, it may feel like it comes out of nowhere. However, there's with it, hand in hand, a sense of completion and possibly even some sense of closure that allows that new beginning to take place that much more readily. Where it comes to matters of love, until the 19th of the month, Venus remains in your sign. And Venus, through your sign, tends to represent one of the best windows that you get in a year that allows you to align with greater love than you've known before. This is energy that is a blessing, and that blessing can play out in all kinds of ways, but that includes an attraction as well. And so you do want to maximize the potential of this by ensuring that you are doing something. So instead of saying, oh, wow, I got Venus in my in my sign right now. Isn't that lovely? Let me just stay here on my computer with my VR on. You could do that if you wanted to, but if it is that you are genuinely open to meeting someone new, let's start there. You just being yourself, being in your element, being out and about, if that's what being yourself entails, you're able to attract love towards you that much more easily. Do whatever it is that helps you to connect with and celebrate your unique beauty, because it's from that place that you're able to maximize the potential here as you move through life with the confidence of knowing that good things are for you. You just might attract people who validate that. For those of you just starting to date someone, well, Venus in your sign making you a magnet does mean that you don't have to settle necessarily, right? But it also suggests that there's a part of you that may want to experience a greater feeling of romance, a greater feeling of love. And there may very well be that sense of that person being able to meet you there, that sense of satisfaction with it. However, as you move through this time, understand as well that if it is that you really are not feeling a connection, it really is okay. Because again, you're such a magnet for the first part of this month, almost 3 weeks is the first part of this month. But of course, you are and you remain a Leo, which means that you already have such charisma, such natural presence. So it is never the case that Leos need to settle in any way for anyone, but rather be open and see who it is that is genuinely honoring of your heart. And for those of you in an established bond, the overwhelming majority is going to find in established bonds that there is a sense here of connection, sweetness, softness. It's that much easier to get along with your partner, which is a beautiful thing. However, if it is that you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, I think that this is about having faith in love itself. It is about connecting deeply to a knowing that love as a larger principle is for you. And from that place, you get to decide what the best next steps could be. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say, I do love that Venus remains in your sign, I will say. But I think the lunar eclipse, it's just so positive. And it's so much about the sense of what we no longer need leaving. And this is especially true for you as you are in the middle of a year of Jupiter in the sign just before yours, which is all about fortunate karmic closures and the preparation for a brand new cycle that's going to come in the middle of next year. I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. But for now, what makes this time especially powerful is that deepening appreciation, that deeper insight and knowing into what's really going on, what your truth is, what it is to be authentically you, what power is to you, and knowing that you are well provided for by a generous universe. This is where the biggest blessings lie. And the wonderful thing is that the universe is working overtime to deliver them to you. Well, thank you so much for watching. Consultations with me and Andy are available over on my website, nadiyashah.com/consultations. And also check out the Superstar space. Lots of bonuses there for members. And that is at thefutureismagical.com. All those links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.